Hello, and thank you for tuning in. My name is Victoria Leal, and the first thing I want to say is that if you came to this video looking for hype about OnPassive, you won't find it here, as that is not necessary, not now, not ever. This video was actually a little hard to make because I'm going to tell you the truth about some things that may be hard for some of you to hear. But if you don't hear it now, then it may be too late by the time you realize that what I am saying is true. And just to give you a little background, I've been in sales and marketing for 40 years, and when I say that I have seen it all, I have seen it all thus far. But I say that from a slightly different perspective than some. I understand the psychology of sales, and I've sold many products from artworks to insurance to vacuum cleaners. But for the last 20 years, my focus has been primarily in the online marketing industry, involving affiliate marketing, network marketing, multi-level marketing, as well as internet marketing. And while there has been much success, I have also experienced much loss. I know there are some of you who have experienced loss, and you know exactly what I'm speaking about. But those losses were challenges to me, and I never cried over spilled milk. In other words, when I made the decision to join something, I also made the decision to accept full responsibility for my successes and my losses. And I also knew in my heart that this industry was where I wanted to be. This is where true financial freedom and time freedom that we all seek resides. I just had to find the right company. And that encouraged me to want to know more about the industry from the inside out. And when a program or a business opportunity or company that I was involved in went belly up, and for some reason, I know that would be enough to make some of you want to quit, but not me. That just made me want to know exactly why this was happening. Was it the company? Was it me? Was it the people that were joining me? This was what began my process of researching and learning and understanding different types of online companies or programs, from the owners to the products, to the compensation plans, to the terms and conditions, and all of the fine print in between. And I became totally oblivious to hype. And for some of them, no matter how much hype they threw at me, I already knew they would not work and could practically predict how long they would be online. So I just stayed away from those. You have to understand, this has never just been about the money for me. I've always looked for viable options that I could share with others to help them be successful online as well. And besides, when a business or a program or company has to resort to hype, you'd better look deeper. And when I thought I had found a viable option, the only things I could not control were the owners and the work ethics of the people who joined me. And over the years, I've been with companies that have had amazing products and great compensation plans, and for whatever reason, the company just shut down with no notice, leaving me and everyone who joined me hanging in the wind. If this has ever happened to you, I'm sure you know how that feels, especially when you have put so much of your heart and soul into a business, only to see it all go up in smoke. Then there were times when I found a great company with amazing products and a compensation plan that worked if you worked the business. However, your success was largely dependent on the people who joined with you. And unless you wanted to do all of the work yourself for your entire team, then the only other way to be successful was to invite others who were willing to work as hard as you did. But unfortunately, that was not always the case either. When your income is dependent on others working the business as hard as you do, then no matter how good the company is, if the people fail to do what is required, then eventually everything will come to a halt. And when that happens, Some people will naively blame you for their lack of success in a business or a program simply because you were the one who invited them to join in the first place. I am sure this has happened to many of you if you have had any experience at all in the online marketing world. Either you were the one doing the blaming or you were the one being blamed. And this is part of the brutal, honest truth. Sometimes it is just a lack of personal responsibility and outright fear that stops others in their tracks and chokes the life out of any chances they may have ever had of being successful online. For you to truly be successful in online marketing, you simply cannot play the blame game, no matter who is at fault. You must take personal responsibility, not only for your successes, but for your losses as well. And let's face it, while there are an awful lot of scams out here in the online marketing world, some you can see up front, and others you cannot see until much later. Not everything is a scam. And sometimes people have a tendency to want to call something a scam simply because they do not take responsibility for their work ethic or lack thereof in the business, whether this is by not doing their due diligence before joining or simply not doing the work once they have joined. So what is the alternative? If you have never heard of OnPassive, then you owe it to yourself to find out what it is. On the surface, OnPassive is an information technology and IT company that is products and services driven, but underneath that, it is so much more. If you were to Google OnPassive, you would see a mixture of information, some from people who know what they are doing and who know what they're talking about. Then we have those who know exactly what they're doing, but have absolutely no clue what they're talking about. And those are the ones who use a bait and switch tactic to try and sell you something else once they've gotten you hooked on the name OnPassive, but we won't waste time on that. When I was first introduced to OnPassive back in July of 2018, I started my usual process of researching, but that was cut short. The moment that I knew the company that is now called OnPassive was started by Mr. Ash Mufareh, I was in, lock, stock, and barrel. I immediately knew that I wanted to be a part of it. And I say the company that is now called OnPassive because when I first became a founder in the company, we did not even have a name at that time. However, I have known Mr. Mufareh for over 10 years now, and there were 3 things I knew about him that made me want to work with him at OnPassive. And they were: number 1, his extensive knowledge and experience in online marketing. Number 2, his honest and tireless work ethic. And number 3, his genuine desire to help other people be successful online. But I still had no real idea of what I was getting myself into. Even with knowing the character and the standards of Mr. Mufareh, the more I looked into OnPassive, it was like an unbelievable dream come true. And not just for me, but for potentially millions of people all around the world. Before OnPassive, I knew that the online marketing industry was where I belonged, and that if I had to go through 100 companies to find the perfect one that I could truly give my heart to, that is what I would have done. But when I realized what Mr. Mufareh had planned for OnPassive, I instinctively knew that I would not have to go through 100 companies. In fact, I will not have to participate in any other company, online or offline, for the remainder of my life if I don't want to. And here's why. OnPassive takes into consideration 2 major factors that many of us in the online world are very familiar with and have battled with for years. The first being, people are really getting tired of selling and recruiting while facing an uncertain outcome. And granted, there are those like myself who love selling and recruiting, but that is no guarantee for those that will come after you. And the second factor is that in order to really have long-lasting success, unfortunately, a business cannot depend entirely on the work ethics of other people. So you might be asking yourself, how can you be successful in a truly viable online company without other people pulling their weight? And the answer is artificial intelligence, also known as AI technology. As I mentioned before, Mr. Mufara is a master marketer, and he and our team of experts have built from the ground up proprietary tools using AI technology that has never been seen before publicly. That is, until now. And here's another part of the brutal honest truth, in a manner of speaking. Not even personal responsibility or lack thereof can stop you from succeeding with OnPassive. While it will provide those who want to take responsibility and use the products and services to build and grow your online presence, OnPassive is not just for online marketers, but can help anyone who has long sought the solution to financial freedom, both online and offline, completely on autopilot. Earlier, I mentioned your online success being dependent largely upon the work ethics of other people. Well, with OnPassive, you are not dependent on what anyone else does or does not do. And for the first time in the history of the entire online marketing industry, OnPassive will help all kinds of people, from the experienced marketer in all aspects of online marketing to the person who has never even considered online marketing as a viable option, but would love the opportunity to become financially free and take back control over their lives. Fortunately, for anyone who gets involved in OnPassive, your personal success is not even dependent on your own work ethics, let alone that of other people. And for the first time in online history, your success is 100% guaranteed, regardless of your experience, education, background, or current circumstances, all without needing to recruit other people. But how is this possible? If you are not required to recruit other people, how can this be sustained? The answer is our passive AI technology, designed to go all out over the World Wide Web to find people who are interested in your business, or even those who are interested in starting an online business of their own, without all of the usual problems. And while there is work being done, it is just not being done by you. From the prospecting to the recruiting, to the selling, to the closing, and most importantly, helping you obtain a constant flow of new customers and ultimately retaining those customers. Whether you are already involved in an online business or you are just looking for a way out of the everyday rat race, OnPassive will be a dream come true for everyone who gets involved. And it does not matter how long you have been online or what your experience level is, I can guarantee that you have never seen anything like this before. And here's another piece of the brutal, honest truth. As I mentioned earlier, the passive AI technology of OnPassive is going to force everyone to become successful online, whether you like it or not. And if it bothers you to have machine learning forcing your success instead of you having to depend on the work ethics of yourself or others, then this may not be for you, because you will have zero choice in the matter. For as soon as you plug in, it is going to go to work for you, doing everything that is needed to bring about your long-awaited success. And the last piece of the brutal honest truth. Earlier I mentioned this video was a little hard to make because no matter how much of a silver platter this business is being delivered to you on, unfortunately, there will still be those who will be stopped by one thing and one thing only, and that is fear. And what is very unfortunate, and quite frankly a little sad, is that no matter how much is done for you, there will always be those who will be forever stuck in their own mental prisons from their past experiences with online marketing, whether directly or indirectly, and will never know success, will never know real financial freedom, and will never know what it means to live a life that you have freely chosen. For some, there's an unconscious choosing to stay a victim to their circumstances, no matter how unpleasant they may be, because it serves a purpose for them. Now think about this. The only reason why a person would continue to endure hard times when they no longer have to is because they somehow feel it serves a purpose for them. But when they consciously choose they want better, and this choice overrides the limiting subconscious belief, it is then they will have better. You have the power to choose. When I became a founder in OnPassive in July of 2018, and I can honestly tell you that my excitement about what is being built for us has not waned from day one. In fact, what is about to be revealed to the public could not have been accomplished in just a few weeks or even a few months. And those that truly understand the magnitude of what is about to rock the entire online marketing industry understand this very well. Having the opportunity of a lifetime to become what I called an early bird founder in OnPassive from the very beginning has made every bit of what I have ever experienced online all worth it. And I am grateful every day for the inspiration and vision of what some would call an impossible dream that was given to Mr. Ash Mufareh, who has now made this dream possible, and I am a part of it. And although we do not have an exact date for when we will present OnPassive to the world, what I can tell you is that we will be having our very first public webinar for new OnPassive customers on February 4th, 2020. Now what this means, and the significance of this, is that OnPassive will have opened to the world before this date. And when we do, don't worry, you will know about it, because you will hear about OnPassive from one corner of the globe to the other, as we have early bird founders in every legal country on this beautiful planet of ours, just waiting to spread the word and start changing lives. If you could imagine being part of a company that will begin a worldwide movement, one that will change the lives of millions of people all over the world, because it carries the heart of the world at its core, there will never be a reason anymore for anyone to experience poverty, to experience homelessness, to experience not being able to provide for themselves or their families, no matter who you are. And this is what I meant, that under the surface of our IT company, there is so much more. This video is actually a little longer than what I had originally intended, but at the same time, if you are looking for something quick, then becoming a founder may not be for you. We take being a founder in OnPassive very seriously, and we hope that you will too. The important thing is that now you know about what awaits you before it is too late. And should you decide to join us and become a founder before we open this to the world, you will have all of the benefits and privileges of an OnPassive founder. Some of you know that I am speaking directly to you, and not only are you ready to make a difference in your own life, but you are the kind of person who wants to make a difference in the lives of others. And for the rest, if being a founder is not for you, then it will never be too late to to become a customer, as this is just the beginning.